Peace, y'all. Yeah, it's Lord Messiah, Law L. Welcome to the Universal Temple, or the universal temple of the sun, planet, moon, and stars. So, today we're gonna have King L Bay. He's got to come back in a minute. Y'all sent him the link and whatnot. And we was building on some life, life issues and baby mamas and all that type stuff. But we about to get back into this build, y'all, because I know y'all ain't trying to be out personal stuff and all that. So let's get back into this knowledge, that we be coming here to drop. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna share the screen and we're gonna get into some things and we're gonna make it happen. So all right, let me look into the files. Let me look into the archives. See what we're working with. See what we got for y'all today. Oh, matter of fact, this is what we're gonna do. We got to break down this right here. I was gonna do this by myself, and I am gonna do one by myself, and I'm gonna break it down because I was gonna break this down like mathematically. I got a mathematical, um, you know, um, breakdown to how I'm gonna manifest these different aspects of law. You know what I mean? I went from um let's see, where's my thing at? But breaking down, here we go. I need to relabel this. Yeah, there we go. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe King had to take care of this his seed. I'm gonna wait for the guard to come back in the building though. But yeah, pardon me 1 second. Y'all can look at this real fast and see what it's saying and whatnot. And I'm gonna be back in a minute. Fish. All right, so yeah, so okay, so we dealing with laws of succession, laws of inheritance, laws for testamentary, international law, international private law, customary law, law of treaties. Number 8, I'm gonna change the constitutional law, and then number 9, as in an alphabet, Islam, is gonna be Islamic law. Please leave your message for. All right, so yeah, constitutional law and I gotta go on here also. Yeah, so so now yeah, so you got constitutional law. And we're gonna go, we're gonna look up these, we're gonna look all this up, and we're gonna get it in. Oh, and then 10, yeah, then 10 you have choice of law. Because your law doesn't have to be Islamic law, you know what I'm saying? It can be whatever law you choose to be, whatever law you choose it to be. So okay, all right. Though, be honest with y'all, I don't like the intro of how I came in here, and I took a little break and all that. Like, so I want to make this actual presentation official. So I'm gonna go out of this one. So I just gave y'all a little introductory. Matter of fact, this is gonna be the introductory to my actual bill. So like I said, so we dealt with the law of succession, the law of inheritance, law of testamentary, law of inter. And you see how I'm breaking these things down too. Law of succession, because the root word is success is succession is success. Inheritance, because inheritance is in her. You're dealing with testamentary law because you're dealing with the testament, as in last will and testament. The Bible is the Old Testament, the last Testament, and the New Testament. You know what I mean? Okay, God is in the building. Peace, 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 God.
Peace.
Yeah, God. I was just going in right here. I was changing gears and was going into this right here, laws of succession. My breakdown right here. I was gonna do one on my own, which I am gonna do, but I said I got the God here. We could just get it in, what I'm saying, and just break down these terms. So I I got here. I got law of succession, and you see I'm emphasizing and breaking down the words like succession. Root word of succession is success. Inheritance, because inheritance is in her. Testamentary, because you're dealing with testament, as in last will and testament. The Bible is Old Testament, the New Testament, the Last Testament, New Testament, all that. International law, because you're entering nations or interfacing with other nations. And that's law of international law. International private law, because you got private law, but then you also got international private law. And since we're dealing with international law, we're going to deal with international private law. You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, customary, custom. So you're dealing with customs. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I had to break that down. And somebody's like, yo, that's what you mean. That don't mean. I'm like, bro, I know what I'm talking about, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, me and the God be going over this every day. Like, what you, man, I know what I'm talking about, man. Anyway, but yeah, laws of treaties, um, constitutional law, all this stuff, uh, constitutional law, Islamic law, and choice of law. Because like I was just saying before, I said, and I put because I or Islam and alphabet, I is Islam. Um, and then 10, saying is, knowledge, cycle, or justice is like a choice of law. Oh, and that's deep too, because it aligns with justice. And a judge, a judge is one who does the knowledge to the cipher, what I'm saying? Justice being temp letter. He does the knowledge to the cipher before he brings about a judgment. You know what I mean? Before he can bring about justice, he has to do the knowledge to the cipher. And that's why his job is to interpret the law. You know what I mean? So, but before he interprets it, he has to do, he has to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? He has to acknowledge the prima facie evidence placed before him. So yeah, I was gonna go to the Google and just get it in, you know what I'm saying? We could go to a legal dictionary or whatever too. You know what I'm saying? And just start going into and breaking down some of these terms, you know what I'm saying? Or breaking down.
Yeah, I found the new word under abatement, and then looking at what's called peri pursuit under abatement laws. So the United States is bankrupt. So how do a bankrupt nation have a good credit score?
Mm.
Ask yourself questions about how do a nation who is bankrupt, they declare bankruptcy every year. Bankruptcy has nothing to do with their sovereign capacity. Being sovereign just means they have a right of choice as a nation,
Yeah.
right?
But you know what though? That's the size of what they deal with. You know, you heard the expression, if I owe you, you never go broke. As long as I
Right,
owe you, you never go broke. That's
right.
the whole vibe they work off of. They owe everybody around the whole damn world. That's why there's a big national debt. But the way they see it is, well, hey, as long as I owe you, you'll never go broke.
You never go broke.
And what they do is they transfer the actual money that they owe into credit, and they back that credit by the labor of the people. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's why our labor is going to back their credits. You know what I'm saying? Just like even people in prison. You know what I'm saying? Their imprisonment is backing mortgages on homes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all that shit is tied together, yo. Word is bond. The whole, like, all that shit is woven in. The prison, the school, the prison pipeline, and all that shit. Like, man, that shit is real, man. There ain't no conspiracy theory stuff and all that, man. That shit is all real. And so going back to what I was saying, yeah, they will work on the principle of as long as I owe you, you never go broke. So now they just like and being that they got the military to be like, well, yeah, I know I owe you, but run up on me trying to get that if you want to and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now they just got everybody be like, man, that nigga's like Debo. America's deep. The United States is Debo in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's what they doing. Like, yo, this nigga, oh damn, Debo coming around. Yo, man, hide your chain, man. Oh shit, Debo coming. I'm gonna just hide mine. You know what I'm saying? That nigga Smokey said, I'm gonna just hide mine. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. But yeah, pardon the drifty thing, but that's what they do though, basically. They get banged out. Yeah, y'all got to click back in. Click out. All right. Peace.
please, my daughter keep kicking this computer thing and it keep cutting out. She want to climb up on everything. But yeah, God, how we got to? So a lot of us, what I try to tell people, don't look always at the words or try to predict what is going on through construction, but pay attention. God gave you two eyes and two ears for a reason. Those are your sensory organs. Observation is your best teacher. To see something and to hear something, right? So I started looking at how the system is made up. How do they make their money? Oh, they do this. Since they bankrupt, they say, all you industries, come to us, right? What we're going to do is we're going to help you in on the slave trade. Y'all create airline industries, medical industries, what other industries? Automotive industries, the banking industry, all of these industries are under our control.
Mm.
So for them creating these industries, they're rewarded with slavery. Okay, we're gonna constantly bail you out. All these services that you got, these dollar bills are nothing but vouchers to get to the slaves.
Mm.
So now you can go to the hospital on these vouchers, these Federal Reserve notes, and get all the medical and dental work you want.
Right.
We got the best slaves in the business because they stupid. They've been brainwashed to believe that that money has real value in it.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to tell Morris is we need our own industries. Airline. Once you become a nation, what you gonna do? You gonna keep riding on airplanes? No, we need our own cars. You got to have a gross domestic product. What is your nation doing to improve the quality of life of other nations and your nation? What are you doing? Are you inventing something? Are you coming up with medical cures? Are you making more affordable, stable houses? Are you getting away with more bio, bio products that can break down, that's more sustainable, that have less harm to the planet? What are you doing as we relate to this, understanding what's going on? So Moors are complaining, but what the hell is you building? At least build something. Why can't we put our little money together and form a bank?
Well, the science with that, as far as a bank, I would say we would have to base it on a like a natural element. You know what I mean? Like one of the elements, you know, um, gold, silver, platinum, zinc, copper, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You can
All
listen. You can have a labor
it'll
bank,
be it'll be it, it'll be have to be based backed on that. And the reason why I say that is so it comes out of the currency of the FRNs and all that. It has to be backed by you have to have your own value back in your dollar because basically because you can invent your own money. You know this is all legal tender for debts public target. You know what I'm saying? So according to the Constitution and all that, you able to do that basically. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. You got
but
your own currency circulating in your own jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying?
what if we did it like this? What if we created a labor bank, and according to your labor, you produce a certain number of credits, and that those credits get transferred into and recorded, and to allow you to get particular services in your community, right, based upon them lines of credits. It's all types of ways we can do it,
Yeah, like what like the irrevocable line of credit and whatnot.
right? So
Let me pull that up because I had that in my watch card. I need to pull that up. But you know that's yeah, God, pardon me.
that's these are all. This is man. There's so many things I learned. The universe give you a inner. We have to understand we gods, and the reason why we gods because we are minds, and minds are infinite. It's an infinite possibilities for us to pull ourselves up. We don't have to resort to one method. It ain't no one method. We have infinite possibilities. But unless we try this, we would never know. Until strength come in numbers. Stop before you knock over the computer, girl. The mind.
So boom, right? Coming into secession. Says secession, a number of people, excuse me, a number of people or things sharing a specific characteristic and following one after the other. She had been secretary to a succession of board directors. Yeah, and it says the action or process of inheriting a title, office, property, etc. The new king was already elderly at the time of his succession, right? So, so basically, it's like saying, like I said, a characteristics of and following one after the other. So basically, you're going to be in succession not only like of your father's good looks, but of your father's estate. You know what I'm saying? His good name. You know what I'm saying? You know everything that he built. His his reputation. You know what I'm saying? You being a member of his family. You know what I'm saying? Your family name hold weight. You know what I'm saying? All of that. You're gonna rise into the succession of that. You're gonna follow after that. You know what I mean? and there's going to be a action or process of inheriting a title, an office, property, etc. So yeah, so your title is your title of nobility. You know what I'm saying? And title of ownership to whatever certificates or property held in trust. Um, and the office is the executor office because you're going to rise to the child's going to rise to executorship of the trust. You know what I'm saying? When you're no longer here, and the will and everything. So that's the office they're going to occupy, executor office, and so forth. So that's why I broke that down for succession to be number one as far as we're dealing with the man because man is knowledge, which is number one, the foundation. And also, dealing with succession too. Like I say, we rising above the state jurisdiction and coming back into international fold of governance. You know what I'm saying? As to where the man is responsible and he can govern his family from that standpoint and not be subject to the state saying, well, you can come see your kids on Fridays and Saturdays and you can take them to the mall and make sure you have them back at, you know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here, man. Pardon my language, excuse me. But you know what I mean? Get out of here with all that, man. You know what I mean? Uh, so yeah. And also we could go into the secession as far as it was being explained in the laws of nations. You know what I mean? That laws of nations document. But I'm gonna search for that real fast if you want to add on to that.
The laws of secession is the most is so we got what is the laws of secession as it relates to a testament, right? So as a nation, a testament is a record, it's a verse. So you have to understand how to maintain your records. These are your private family records. And you are the ultimate authority over your private estates. So your estate or your state or condition is is your state of consciousness and how your nation think, act, and behave according to your constitution. You see what I'm saying? Your constitution allows you the will. The constitution is specifically described as the will of the people. So we have to understand all of this and how we need to construct this so we can come back into the fold of the family of nations so that we can get back our rights to choose our choice of law, come back into the customary of things, okay, and start living a life of abundance instead of a life of inabundance and scarcity.
I just added contract law. I just added contract law um to after choice of law because after you choose your choice of law, you're gonna have to state that in contract. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And how you choose the contract. Your choice of law is how you choose the contract. So after choice of law comes contract law. You know what I'm saying? People will be putting contract law first and be like dealing with commerce. Like, hold up, man, you forgot you ain't do all of this right here yet. You know what I'm saying? You better do all of this first before you talk about some contract commerce. Hold up, do this first. I tell people, do this first. When you do all of this, put you in a better position. You know what I'm saying? Way better position. Like that 18 USC 112 position. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right, so let's go into inheritance. King, are you muted?
Yeah, I've been moving myself
Oh,
so
okay, all right.
so she don't be making noise in the background.
Yeah, please go. See, they even break it down as in her sense. You know what I'm saying? Inherit. What you inherit is in her. You know what I'm saying? It is in her. Inherit. What you inherit, it is in her. All right, so it says a thing that is inherited. Uh, he came into a comfortable inheritance. The action of inheriting the inheritance of traits. Yeah, like I was saying, right? Like you don't only inherit your father's good looks, but you're gonna inherit his state, his estate, his property. You know what I'm saying? Everything. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, but traits is definitely deep too because like your genetic traits. You know what I'm saying? When somebody can know like, yo, that's your father. Yo, you look just like your father. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, so they know that's or just like the mother. You know what I'm saying? A daughter looks just like a mother. You know what I'm saying? That's inheritance of traits. You know what I'm saying? And here it says inheritance is the practice of passing on private property. I say God, private property. You know what I'm saying? Titles, debts, uh, entitlements, privileges, rights, and obligations upon the death of an individual. The rules of inheritance differ among societies and have changed over time. The passing on or private property and or debts can be done by a notary. So
So I want us to think about this, right? When you die, you are still passing on the debt of the United States onto your children, right? They inherit your debt because you still dealing in this commercial system that's based on debt. When you understand that you are on the earth and the Most High gave you rights and kingdom to everything on this planet, you have the same rights and inheritance as they do, unless you waive them by contracting them out. You can give away your rights.
yeah, you went muted out, God. You heard G?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So we got to understand, okay, so God already gave you the keys to the kingdom. So the only way you can give away your keys to the kingdom is you contract them away. So when you go through the Social Security manual, right? They tell you what they did. They translated your name from standard English to all caps. And that's where your rights got transferred to. And you agreed to that through signing that instrument. So let me see if I can pull it up. Um, I'm gonna try to pull it up.
So the passing on of private property and or debts can be done by a notary.
So let me pull this up so people can see how they got their rights taken from through this application. This is how they transfer the rights over.
So yeah, so while you're looking that up, I'm just break down testamentary. And you see how even they break testamentary, you know what I'm saying? Testament. So it says relating to or be bequeathed or anointed through a will. Mm, anointed through a will. A testamentary bequest. Oh, okay, bequest. Bequeath. Okay, so bequeath is the past tense of bequested. Bequest. Bequeath. All right. So or appointed through a will. So yeah, like that's what I was telling, I was, trying to express to my brother the other night was that you have to have your line of succession. You know what I'm saying? You have to have your line of succession, meaning uh the testamentary trust, a testamentary trust, so for example, they give a testamentary trust. Speed.
Stop.
Testamentary trust which arises upon the death of the testament and which is
Hold on, I wanted to
testament.
share this, my brother,
All right, one,
so we can let me show you. Most people don't know what they did when they transfer over. So
all right,
this, let me share this
pardon
one
me,
second.
pardon me one second. Let me just
Let's
finish.
see.
Let me just finish breaking this last thing here. Um, it says and which is specific. Yeah, God. Yeah, part of something. I was just saying I was confused
So
with the last little bit on that thing. I
a
was just
lot of people don't. This statement right here, understanding, it says that they tell you what is a legal name. It says a legal name consists of a first and last name. The legal name is the name used to sign legal documents, deeds, or contracts, right? Translate given name and family name shown on a document submitted as a SSN to the first and last name application, respectively, as follows. So, a lot of people don't know, right? This is what a lot of people don't know, God. You don't have to have the same name on the birth certificate as it relates to you. You can assign yourself a name. You can create a personality where now you can go back and assign yourself or your children supposed to have assigned themselves a personality, leaving their true name out. And that name would have went on the birth certificate instead of their true name. And that name would have been the name that they do business in. And they would have kept their private name private. So they get to pick and choose how they wanted to use that name. They can say, well, listen. Why you sit, huh? Sit on this chair. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, so that's dealing with the alter ego doctrine. So the alter ego doctrine refers to
I can't hear
a rule of law developed by the courts that allows the obligation of a corporation to be treated as
you.
those
God,
of its shareholders. The alter ego doctrine.
I can't hear. Can't hear you. Did you hit the mute button?
Nah. My thing is good. You can't hear it? But check it. It says the the alter ego doctrine. Um, disregards the separate legal existence of the corporation and therefore is sometimes described as piercing the corporate veil. So basically saying like your the name you choose for self is gonna be your how you choose to operate like as yourself, per se, but it's gonna be separate from the corporation. But at the same time you still hold equal share, what I'm saying, as a corporation. So it says treated as those of its shareholders. So you know what I mean? You're still gonna be treated with that same equality, but knowledge that's your own entity or your own alter ego. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I was going into see now if I click this shit better not click out, man. No, let me just type it back in. As long as you look in.
So what they also said in there, you are joined once you create that alter. Once you create that um that straw. Once they created that straw man for you, you can't separate it under the alter ego doctrine. You have the same rights as the shareholders. You have some of the same powers, right? You just got to govern how those shares can be used, right? Those shareholders, you and the shareholders are equal in position. So that's why it's very important to express the trust, right? When dealing with this such matter on that level.
This right here, I was going into testamentary trust. It is a trust which arises upon the death of the testator and which is specified in his or her will. and a will may contain more than one testamentary trust and may address all the portion of the estate. Excuse me, all or any portion of the estate. So yeah, so testamentary trust, like I said, it can address all or any portion of the estate. So basically, you want to address your whole estate, testamentary trust. You know what I'm saying? It says relating to or bequeath or appointed through a will. So basically, your divine appointment, you setting up your whole heaven on earth, as they say, is through your will. And you know the testamentary trust that's mentioned in the will, or that's expressed in the will. You know what I mean? Testamentary. After that, we go to international law. All right. International law consists of, okay. International law consists of, or rule, parts of. International law consists of rules and principles governing the relations and dealings of nations with each other. International law, right? As well as the relations between states and individuals. So, like, if you're dealing with like a binary contract, like with you and the state, like, but you have to establish yourself as an international organization and then deal with the state. So then it'll be between the state and the individual, and relations between international organizations, right? See, so once you develop the international organization, and like I said, in my instruments and in here, I'm expressing international recognition. You know what I'm saying? Not like applying for it or like, oh, do y'all recognize me? I'm out here. Y'all see me? Fuck that. Like I'm stating, yo, I said I internationally known upon the microphone. You know what I'm saying? Even your your picture in the zone. Yeah, so we internationally known and we just stating it, we making it known. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in contrast, private international law deals with conservaties between private persons, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So then you go into the whole private thing. So now you could deal with you could deal internationally out in the open, or you could deal internationally as a private person, you know. And here it says international law, also known as public international law and law of nations. Yeah, that law of nations. That's type that in, y'all. Law of Nations. There's a book. There's a track called Law of Nations. Powerful. You'll see. Is the set of rules, norms, and standards generally accepted in relations between nations, and that's exactly what they break down in that book, Law of Nations. They break down all of that right there. The sets of rules, norms, and standards generally accepted in relation between nations. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's dealing with international
I
law.
also want to show you something as it relates to this international and secessions. So let me show this under Black's laws. I'm gonna show some other stuff too. Let's go here. So a lot of people don't know there's all types of secessions, right? The act or right of legally or officially taking over a predecessor's office, rank, or duty. The acquisition of rights or property by inheritance under the laws of the descendant. You see this? Under the laws of the deceit, of the descent, and distribution. So, I want y'all to, it says under the laws of this. So nobody can, once you have the will, nobody can do what? Distribute your rights or your inheritance to anybody else
Mm,
without your permission, right?
right.
Rights are private and public. So we got to understand there's a thing called intestate succession. That's without a will. You have irregular succession, succession by special laws favoring certain persons or the state rather than heirs, such as a testamentary heir under the ordinary law of decedent, of descent. I mean, descent and distribution. So they have a policy called irregular succession, right? Where it in favors certain persons, right? Which could be corporations or other persons or the state rather than the heirs. See, then they got legal succession. Succession established by law, usually in favor of the nearest relation of deceased person, right? Lucrative succession, natural succession, right? Between the natural person and and as in descents of the death of an ancestor, right? This is why we claiming treaty rights. Now, I want you to understand there's a testamentary and it's testament testation. These are not the same. One is embedded in civil law, and the other one is in private law. I need to make that a clear distinct. When you do a private will, it's called a testament. When you come into the public, it's called testamentary. It's dealing with
Oh,
civil law.
okay. That's it.
You see what I'm
So
saying?
yeah, it's a testament. So that's right. You want to make your own testament
Right.
and let it be the last will and testament.
Yes. So if you come under testamentary law, that's civil law, that's public law, that's where you get your stuff probate.
So I'm gonna change that to law of testament, more so than testamentary, law of test. But either or, it's all relevant because like you just broke it down. You know what I mean?
So it's all about your ability to contract. Then they have a universal succession,
Mm.
right?
Build on that, God.
A succession to an entire estate of another. At that, this type of succession carries with it the predecessor's liabilities as well as assets. Originally developed by Roman law and later continued by civil law. This concept has now been widely adopted as options endorsed and authorized by the Uniform Probate
Probate.
Codes.
Hmm. See, so then they didn't went from universal law, universal succession to uniform probate. Like in other words, you are supposed to be in succession to the universe, which is the Father. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be in succession to the universe, but now they're gonna deal with uniform probate code. We're gonna take away the whole abundance of the universe, and then we're gonna rob you through probate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
get out of here.
So a lot of people don't know all of these. Look, it's just this is dealing with. So then you have a perpetual succession.
Um, and after that, look at vacant succession.
Yeah, you want to go to
You ever
that
seen that?
vacant.
Yeah.
So
That's
a vacant succession is where you don't
claim your rights, claim your property.
you vacate it. A
Right.
succession that fails either because there are no known heirs or
Right.
because the heirs have renounced the estate.
Right.
an estate that has suffered such a failure.
Right. And
See,
it's not necessarily that you said, oh, we just want to give up the estate, you can have it. No, it's that the fact that you didn't extend your line of succession. You know what I'm saying? You have to extend the line of succession. So even now, even in my will, I'm a extend it too to say, well, to their children's children, 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 and basically this shit is gonna be in existence forever. You know what I'm saying? It can never die. Basically, I'm gonna say this will can never die. It's gonna always be in existence. It can even if a point where there's no successor, God damn it, it'll just remain until someone is created and until someone comes back into the knowledge and the family. Like, hold up, Uncle Masiah or Grandpa Masiah had a will. Let's look back into this. And it says here that at any time we can pick back up on this and follow in succession. Oh snap! Let us take advantage of this. You know what I mean?
right. So, and then this is the third. This is the third sense. Now, it's also says, see, cheat when somebody cheats you out of your estate. It says the right by which one group in replacing another group, right? This is what they do. The right by which group, the right by which one group in replacing another group requires all the goods, movables, and other chattels of a corporation. The continuation of a corporation legal status despite changes in ownership or management, also termed artificial succession. You get that? So your straw man is a artificial succession. Don't matter, right? The continuation of the corporation legal status despite changes in ownership or management. It don't matter, right? The continuation of a corporation's legal status despite changes of ownership or management. So you can own this, you can say, yeah, I own it, but your legal status will never change. I don't care if you manage it. Your legal status will never change. Right? So a lot of people thinking that, oh, I'm a Moor, that I'm going to change the straw man. You're not going to change the straw man. He's going to keep the same legal status. It don't care about ownership. You can't remove him out of a jurisdiction that they created for him. They created it. So you can't change his legal status. That's why I keep trying to tell people, you trying to correct the status. You want to be able to. They created their legal status, right? But you want to be able to control him in such a way he doesn't hurt you, or just come out of that status and have somebody else be appointed as the person over the legal status in which they have to be pay for the debt. So now you can assign someone over that straw man, which could be the Treasury Department, to pay the debt.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Right.
Right? Then you have perpetual succession, the continuous succession of a corporation despite the change in shareholders and officers, for as long as the corporation legally exists. Then, as a general rule, the word perpetual succession is used in charters, often in connection with further provisions limiting the period of corporate existence to a certain number of years, meaning nothing more than the corporation shall have continuous and uninterrupted succession, so as long as it shall continue to exist as a corporation, and are not intended to define its duration. So for example, they talking about that it'll go on until till it's dissolved. Till somebody say, okay, I want to dissolve this corporation. Now, in a testament will, a last will and testament, you can have it where it's also perpetual or self-executing, right? You can state that this will is self-executing and perpetual, right? Due to how you want to say it in the nature that you want to present it, because you want it to continue to go to those heirs, to the next of kin, right? So if your children don't have children, it would go to their first cousins or their aunties or your siblings or their children, however you set it up. So it's very important to understand the laws of succession. This is the most important document because this is critical to your wealth building. The problem that we don't understand this has been the problem, so why we haven't had wealth. 80% of the wealth in America has been inherited. Inherited. It's old money that funded new money. That's it, God.
So yeah, so we're dealing with international private law, international private law, or international private law or private international law is a set of rules or rules of procedural law that regulates the relations between physical and judicial persons of different nationalities. The three branches of international private law are jurisdiction, choice of law, and foreign judgments. See what I'm saying? So based upon the law you choose to deal with, that's how the judgment is going to be made. And it's going to be a foreign judgment because it's outside of the jurisdiction in which you may be in charge with or whatever. So this is how you come outside of that jurisdiction through your choice of law and receiving foreign judgments. You know what I mean? Based upon, that your fact that your choice of law is foreign to whatever present jurisdiction that may be.
So a lot of times when I created my trust, I created a family court to deal with these matters, right? The laws of succession, who can distribute the property. So it had exclusive jurisdiction rights. So that name was under exclusive contract that only can be used, and the only people who can declare anything in relationship to that name was the Must Family Court. So nobody had the right to use that name per contract. So we excluded every other person under that right, under contract. And if nobody can provide us with evidence that they had permission to use such name to distribute the estate, then there was unlawful authority, and that would be considered unjust enrichment.
Right. See, I said these same things in the court, but like I said, I wasn't in the proper status to have that be respected. You know what I'm saying? But everything I was saying is absolutely right. But you know what I'm saying? Being under their jurisdiction is like what you telling them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But so all right, it says conflict of laws is the set of rules of laws or laws a jurisdiction applies to a case, transaction, or other occurrences that has connected to more than one jurisdiction. Yeah, conflicts of law. Like for example, um, like I was saying, oh, and peep this, right? So it doesn't even have to be the same thing. It says or other occurrences that has connections to more than one jurisdiction. So, for example, I was emphasizing the fact in the court that I said, well, Your Honor, you're employed by the bar association, and Mrs. Sternberg, my baby mom's lawyer, whatever, the wolf they gave her as opposed to the sheep they try to give me for a legal defendant. But anyway, um, uh, I said he also works for the bar association. So I said that's obviously a conflict of interest. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh well, Mr. Hardy, I yes, I'm employed by a bar association. I don't know about Mr. Sternberg. So I'm like, so then you just admitted on the record that you've been allowing him to come before this court and he's not even licensed to practice law. Even though we know there's no such thing as a law license, but I'm just, that's the BS they try to run on you. Oh, you're not licensed to practice law. Neither are you. Nobody in this courtroom is. So what are you talking about? There's no such thing as a law license. Where? Show me. You know what I'm saying? Where is that? You got a law license? Where is that? Okay, exactly. So, you know what I mean? But so I said all of this is a conflict of interest. And then he said, "Oh well, I work with Bar Association. I know Bevan Sternberg. So then that means that it must have been more than one jurisdiction in the court. So that means that now that means there's more than one jurisdiction, which means that now you've accepted his other form of jurisdiction. Then why do you want to deny my jurisdiction? You're being biased. See what I'm saying? So, what I mean? This is what I'm saying. These are the games they play, man. But if you don't know that this is what they're doing because, we're not in the study. So now as I'm going through this shit, I'm like, yo, I keep referring back to these court cases because I'm like, everything I was saying was right. But like I said, I haven't done all of this international stuff and all of that to get in the proper status for it to be respected and go through and be like, okay, yeah, damn, he does have international protection. So let's not play games with this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. You know what I mean? So we going. What's next? Customary law. After international private law, no customary law. And it just said too, customary. You seen in the thing too. It says customary. Damn, before it just said customary law, international law, because customary law is international law. Like I said, they're gonna respect the customs of your nation in which you come from, and then when you cross borders or pass ports, they have to respect your rights in that next state or next nation or whatever the case may be, because it's international customary law. So now we coming into customary law. So what's the definition? Let's go. We're gonna do basis. Okay. So it says um, customary law. Nature definition is all right. A legal custom is the established pattern of behavior that can be objectively verified within a particular social setting. So, you know, um, all the patterns of behavior that you can see that people do in a within a particular social setting. Like for example, you see like the Jewish people, they wear yarmulkes and they got the little curly locks on the side and stuff like that. That's something that you see. You can tell, okay, he's one of these people because they have a custom of that. You see Muslims, they wear kufis. You know what I'm saying? You see the guards, we wear crowns with the tassel. You know what I'm saying? Stating the fact that we now is 120 degrees. So, there's different customs. The Moors, they wear fezzes. You know what I'm saying? Different customs. So these are, and they do different practices, different things, you know what I'm saying? Different greetings, the way we greet, you know, brothers be like Islam, you know, they be like this, you know what I'm saying? The 5 and the 2, the 2 and the 5, you know what I'm saying? Or brothers be like, yo, peace, God, you know, different customs. Um, it says a legal custom is the established pattern of behavior that can be right. A claim can be carried on in defense of what has already been and accepted by law. See what I'm saying? So, like I was saying about like Jewish people and Muslim people and certain people, they are protected by international rights. There's international protection. So, a claim can be carried out in defense of what has already been done and accepted by law. So in other words, being that they put they stated their will in writing and they published it and nobody contested it, it became law. You know what I'm saying? So now that has already been done and accepted by law. So now when you offend one of them, there can be a claim brought against you. You know what I'm saying? So now that's why I say, so I'm trying to tell people too, we can do this for ourselves. Put a claim on your custom, put a claim on your, you know, acknowledge customary law. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Get into the realm of protecting all of these things about yourself. So that you're not treated like a Negro, you're not treated like a nigger. So a cop can't just roll. I mean, not saying they won't do it still, but I'm just saying. So a cop will think twice about just running down on you, like, yo, let's run down on this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. You know what I'm saying?
So when you understand the laws of succession as it relates, you become a protected class in that public jurisdiction. So when you
Peace. I
become
like that.
when you
Right.
become a protected class, right?
That was
Now,
very eloquent, brother.
so now people can't treat you any kind of way. Now you can enforce those claims because these people are acting under the color of law and which don't apply to you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see what I'm saying? When this stuff, like this is why we build on this information so people can understand really how to go about thinking. That's why I say stop listening to a lot of people that's trying to advocate for things which they truly don't understand. They want you to go into a commercial venue, right? Now, we read in Amendment 11, it says that the United States don't have no judicial power to bring any law or equity into the courtroom. They don't have no judicial power. So the only thing they have is commercial power. Only thing they are doing is administrating your trust.
Mm.
And if you don't express the trust, then they're going to administrate it accordingly to their own wishes.
Their probate codes.
Exactly.
Their uniform probate codes.
Exactly. So now you fall up under the jurisdiction instead of supersede the jurisdiction because you didn't know what time it was.
Right. Right.
There's only one court. It's only one court, and that's the Supreme Court. If you want to bring conflicts, so Moors are arguing things in federal courts of diversity of jurisdiction and all
Yeah.
that stuff
Diversity of citizenship. Right.
under a Article 1 court.
Yeah. And they're not going to respect you because really you need to come from an international standpoint more so than like coming, you know what I'm saying? And like, I try to do that too. I try to look into the federal court and all of that. And like, of course they're gonna try to discourage you. Like, oh, well, what is this for? You sure this is like, because they want as far as like claims in federal court, it has to be something like over $75,000 or something. And as far as tort or damages, you know what I'm saying? Um, for them to even hear it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you got to come up with like $75,000 worth of damages and be like, yeah, this is what I'm charging them for. This, and shoot, I got $1,000,000 worth of damages, man. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real.
So a lot of us, this is why I keep trying to tell people, it's a lot of Moors. Like Even when I hear Moors knocking the rise of the Moors. And what I try to tell people, don't nothing be the failure but a try. You
Yeah,
know,
right. The
what
brothers got heart. They standing out there, you know. When
I'm
me and my brothers just talking and bumping their gums, but them brothers is standing for something. You know what I'm saying?
all these cats talking about all these UCCs and all, bruh. This is why I try to tell people it's levels to this. It's levels to this, God. We on another level. We on another level. Some people gonna be stuck on these levels because they can't see beyond that point. How do God give you dominion over the earth and then everything that come up, they create this commercial world within the earth realm and tell you the one who made the minimum contact. You like, hold up. My father gave me dominion over all things that's in the earth. The commercial venue is in the earth, but they telling you the one who made the minimum contact. That's because of your status. You don't understand what your status is. You trying to correct your status within their jurisdiction, and this don't work. You got to know what to do and how to do it.
Hmm. Peace, God. I looked up. I'm still sharing this here. Okay. I looked up treaty law. I was gonna put in the law of treaties, but I just put treaty law. It says, what is treaty? Under international law, a treaty is a legally binding agreement between nations. In the United States, the World Treaty is reserved for an agreement that is. I'm supposed to go into something. But this over here says, Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. It says the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties is an international agreement relating, regulating treaties between states, known as the Treaty of Treaties. It establishes comprehensive rules, procedures, and guidelines for how treaties are defined, drafted, amended, interpreted, and generally operated. So the Vienna Convention is basically like the foundation on treaty law. You know what I'm saying? As far as this present history, I'm pretty sure before the Vienna Convention, years ago, our ancestors been dealing in contract law and treaty law and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But in this present time, as far as for what I know at least, you know what I'm saying, going back to what, and the Vienna Convention was what, like 16 something or whatever. You know what I mean? So going back to then, they put these conferences together and so forth, been doing what they've been doing. So this is like the, and according to the United Nations and the nations that are in treaty to this day, like see these flags here and stuff like that, they're all going according to these protocols. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, all in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I can't create my own new protocols and then have all the other nations respect it. So I think the obvious way to go is to follow the protocol of all the other nations, and they'll respect it. You know what I'm saying? I guess that makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, but yeah, that's my build on that. And also, you got what's called a self-executing treaty as well. You know what I'm saying? So, if you want to be on some, like, island onto yourself type thing, then you definitely need to have a self-executing treaty, a self-executing peace treaty. You know what I'm saying? To let the whole world know that you're not considered what they would consider. See, when you're not in treaty, like that's why all these like so-called black militia and militant groups that build up, they try to consider them what's called a warring factor, because they're not established on an international level and they're not in peace treaty with other nations. So they'd be like, yo, these dudes might be a warring factor. I mean, not saying that's how they see it. We know, like, man, these just black people. They trying to get their shit together, trying to establish something for their people. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's on an international level or not, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, who says we had to, follow all your protocols, so to speak? But if you choose to, you can get yourself on that level, and then you won't be considered a warring factor. You know what I'm saying? And and that's good to do that, because, like I say, then, like how they ran down on the Moore brothers, you know what I'm saying? And when they were just simply traveling with their pieces of protection, which you're entitled to do. But you know, though, Keith was dropping a jewel too about the Constitution, where he said it don't say the right to bear arms. He said something about the right to be armored, to bear armor or something like that. You know, to be armored or something like that. But it doesn't say like necessarily like people think like, oh, just pick up guns. No, it means to be armored. So armored could be in, it could be versatile. You know what I'm saying? That could be many different ways that you're armored. You could be armored in the word of God, as they say. You could be armored in good energy and aura. You know what I'm saying? You could be armored in with guns. You know what I'm saying? Like armored can have different, you know, meanings. So if they choose to armor themselves that way, then you know what I'm saying? Why they hating? Don't they say we have a right? You know what I mean?
So to build on what you're saying as we talking to the being an international, right? So when you come back and you become a protected class, right? See, what people gotta know is that you can't come in somebody's house without notice. Notice has to be given. So how do they take notice of you? By the treaty that you signed. That was a notice. So
Mm,
when you run down in the United States, like you said, you got guns, you are a warring factor because they don't know what your intentions were.
right, right.
They don't know what you're coming to do. But if you at least have treaties in place of accession, then you can verify what you're here to do. And then they will have to consider what you're doing an act of war. And if it's not an act of war based upon the treaty and the conventions, then it has to be diffused. A lot of us don't understand the construction of law. It's a lot of us that don't know the mechanics. So you got a lot of people trying to teach things that they don't understand. See, we gonna keep dropping jewels, brother. We gonna keep dropping these jewels on them because it's a lot of people that's that talk. One thing I don't do with the Moors, I tell Moors I will not disrespect other Moors in public. That's a private thing. That's where we gotta come off of doing that stuff in the public. Calling another Moor an idiot, a stupid, anything. Because let me tell you something. It takes a lot just to pick up this information and try to run with it. This ain't for the swift or the weak hearted. You gotta be made of a certain type of caliber.
Going to constitutional law. All right, so it says constitutional law. Constitutional law, the body of law that evolves from the Constitution, setting out the fundamental principles according to which a state is, and more than likely it's going to say governed. All right, so constitutional. Yeah, let's click on Wikipedia. Yeah, so body of government, a body of law which defines the role, powers, and structures of different entities within a state, namely the executive, the parliaments or legislature, and the judiciary, as well as the basic right of citizens and federal countries such as the United States and Canada, the relationship between the central government and the state, uh, province, provincial or territorial governments. So yeah, the province or the territorial. So yeah, so like England and all of that, they deal with like province, you know what I'm saying? In America, they deal with territorial jurisdiction, you know, the territories. He's in the territory of so and so. Um, not all nation states have. Not all nation states. Oh damn, yeah, chimed out. You still there, Key? All right, peace, peace. All right. Uh, so yeah, so not all nation states have codified constitutions, though all states has a just commune or law of the land that may consist of a variety of imperative and consensual rules. These may include customary laws, right? Like we talked about. Yeah, because um, customary law, they said what they was talking about before, they said something that people hold so near and dear and is respected as law, like Sharia, you know what I'm saying? Sharia being like a Islamic law, it's a law based on the religion, but it's respected so much in the society, it's respected as law. It's so well respected and known in the society. So it's like it's law. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say in other countries they don't necessarily govern exactly how the United States does. You know what I'm saying? They could just, you know what I'm saying, in other states where like the religion is their law, they based on that and they go by that. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? That like that's what it is. And then like like even in like the Vatican, if you live within the Vatican, I'm pretty sure the Pope is like that. He's the what you call the archdiocese for that region or for that jurisdiction. So whatever rule or edict that the Pope sets, that's going to be the law of the land. You know what I'm saying? Based upon that society and so forth. You know what I mean? So so yeah, so that's constitutional law. So basically, constitutional law deals with the fundamental principles by which the government exercises its authority. Right. So based upon your constitution, like so, therefore, when you create your own nation state and you develop your own constitution, excuse me, your own constitution, the fundamental principles within your constitution is going to be how you govern and how you exercise, which is an exercising of authority. You know what I mean? So that's how you exercise your authority. So like I was talking about before about like certain Muslim people and Jewish people and the Mormons and different people, they have international laws, customary rights or customary laws that protect their that give them rights and protections and so forth. So when we come out of calling ourselves Negro colored and quote unquote and black in the social sense, not in the scientific sense, because we know what it means to us scientifically. And remember, there are different languages, different dictionaries to express different fields of language. So therefore, when you're dealing with law, you got legal dictionaries for legal definitions. When you're dealing with when you're dealing with pardon me, I lost my thought for a minute. Legal dictionaries have legal definitions. Medical dictionaries have medical definitions. And different fields of different definitions for different things. So when you deal in science has science dictionaries, scientific definitions. So when you deal in different realms of things, then Peace, God. So, you know, and also, you know, you have what's called choice of law, which we're going to get into in a minute, which basically states how you can choose your own law, basically. You know what I mean? So, yeah, peace, God. You want to add on to constitutional law?
Okay. Constitutional law is discerned as the will of the people. So when you express your constitution, it's what the nation is going to go by versus uh, um, a personal will. This is the condition or the state of mind that the country or the nation is in, and it will operate. It's for those who are officials or trustees to carry out such performance must take an oath to the Constitution for an assurance, and it's like a warranty deed in which warrant them to act or perform or compel them to do so.
Peace, God. I'm going to go on to what was next? Islamic law. Man, don't cut out on me, man. It's going back. All right, good. Sharia. It says Sharia. Sharia, uh, Romanized Islamic law or Sharia law is a religious law forming part of the Islamic um, forming part of the Islamic tradition. Sharia Islamic law or Sharia law is a religious law forming part of it derives from the religious precepts of Islam, particularly the Quran and the Hadiths. So basically, so like I was saying, in different customs. So Islamic law will be a custom of a Muslim coming from a certain region or certain land that is governed by Sharia. So Sharia would be their law. So, for example, United States is actually, America is actually funded on Islam, but the fiat was changed. Like I was saying about like with George Washington, how George Washington changed the fiat of the nation. And we know the story about how, you know, they say he chopped down the cherry tree. You know what I'm saying? The expression of him chopping down the cherry tree was that, you know, he went when after he got inaugurated into office, he basically, and he was inaugurated by John Hanson, the same black man on the back of the $2 bill, sitting in front first, right here, right on the back of the $2 bill, sitting. I don't know if y'all can see that, but he's sitting with the white gloves on. It's kind of hard to see it on the thing because of the back front. But anyway, um, you look on the back of the $2 bill. You looking in the thing, you're gonna see the only black man sitting there, only dark skinned man sitting there. He got the white gloves on. Actually, how you can tell too, he has the apron that's over them, like they're like covered in the apron. He's farthest to this side, the last man with the apron over him, farther to this side. So that's how you detect him on the back of the $2 bill. But anyway, that's John Hanson. John Hanson is the original Moor Mason Muslim who inaugurated Washington into office. And once Washington got inaugurated, he was like, okay, well, I don't need you anymore. And he went outside the White House and he took down the Moorish flag, which was a red flag with a green star, symbolic of a cherry tree. He took down the Moorish flag and he put up the American rag or the American flag, which had the 13 stars at the time representing the 13 colonies. You know what I'm saying? So now and then he changed the fiat, meaning he changed the godly ordinance or the godly authority of the nation from Allah to God. You know what I'm saying? From Islam to so-called Christianity. You know what I'm saying? So he changed the fiat of the nation. You know what I'm saying? So now, you know what I'm saying? Now this when they say in God we trust and all of that, one nation under God, and all of these different fiatic terms, this is what they've done to change, like I say, change the fiat of the nation. You know what I mean? God bless America. You know what I mean? All these different things like that. You know what I mean? And these things have been etched in our brain. You know what I'm saying? Well, and like I said too, they put on the dollar bill, in God we trust. So like I said, you walking down the street, and you find $100 bill, you're gonna if you're a religious person, you're gonna automatically associate that finding money to God, and you're like, oh, God bless me, God just gave me a blessing. I found $100 bill. Like, oh shit, I got blessed. You know what I'm saying? But once again, like I always say, the love of money is the root of evil, and the root of evil is the devil. So when you find that money, did God bless you or did the devil bless you? But anyway, that's just a little, you know, something to think about. Yeah, but go ahead, God. You want to add on to that though? Dealing with the Sharia.
Sharia law. Understanding Sharia law and understand as Muhammad as being the prophet, meaning that he was the last prophet. You have to understand that dealing with these laws under Sharia law, a lot of people go to extremists, and a lot of laws that's in there. We have to understand. You have to be under the right teachings, because Islam do not teach certain extremist ideology. So a lot of the reason why Sharia law got a bad name is because a lot of people gave it. I think they wanted to give it a bad name, and they used the media to project such um, um, influence.
You know what's ill though? I'm gonna say in my international organization that, in which I did say, but I'm gonna make it more theotic. I'm gonna add some fiat on it. You know what I'm saying? As to where Elijah Muhammad, prophet, Elijah Muhammad was considered a prophet, and so was Noble Drew Ali. You know what I'm saying? And the prophet Elijah Muhammad, he said that Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. So the Father Allah, he came and taught us that he was the Father Allah in the flesh, and he taught us mathematics as our supreme mathematics, the highest form of mathematics, as our way of life. So transcending or descending the knowledge back to Elijah Muhammad, as he taught Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. So when we say mathematics is just as well as saying Islam, it's synonymous with saying Islam. You know what I'm saying? Now, me particularly, I don't use the term Islam because I would rather say mathematics, because people nowadays, they got a whole misunderstanding of what Islam is. So I don't even want to go into that whole, you know, misconception about that. So I just keep it plain and I say mathematics. And plus, that's how the Father taught it. So, you know what I'm saying? So that it would be universally accepted, because mathematics is universal. Not saying Islam is not universal, but it could be considered sector or sexual sectorally, or in many senses. You know what I mean? And in the Quran it says that you're not supposed to have different sects of Islam. But born universe truth, there's plenty of sects of Islam today. And that's not to say that they're going in accord with the Prophet or in accord with Islam, but I should say that a lot of things have been modernized to the modern day and time. Because like you were saying before about Sharia law is some of that is based on some extremist ideologies and some outdated ideologies, like some things that we may have done like thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago that may be in the Quran or the Bible. people may not do those same things today. So you want to, you got to be careful. You got to fine tooth comb whatever Sharia type law you want to deal with, because you got to, and you got to be picky and choosing in your choice of law as to what you choose to adopt from that particular law, or what you don't. So that's why after Islamic law, the next thing that comes in is choice of law. See, I was breaking this, like I said, I broke it down mathematically. I had a structure to it, how I was seeing it. And all of this stuff is relevant. You know what I mean? All of it, it's all lining up. So, legal definition of choice of law: an issue in conflicts of law as to what law, as among laws of different states or multiple federal laws, should be. And then down here they say choice of law is a procedural stage in the litigation of a case involving the conflict of laws, when it is necessary to reconcile the differences between the laws of different legal jurisdictions, such as sovereign states, federal, federated states, and or provinces. So yeah, so basically, based upon the province, federal state, or sovereign state that you're in, the choice of law is going to be based upon those different jurisdictions, those different legal jurisdictions. So yeah, go ahead, though, God. You want to add on? Oh, God, timed out. So yeah, so choice of law. So yeah, so that's where I'm at actually on the board actually. I think we might have gone through them all for now. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, contract law. Okay, now the next is contract law. Now I'm gonna leave this one on King Bay when he chime back in, because he's a contract killer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave that to the God. He gonna break that down right there. All right. So contract law. Contract law is an area of United States law that involves agreements between people, businesses, and groups. When someone does not follow an agreement, it is called a breach of contract. And contract laws allow you to take the problem to the court. So yeah, so in other words, if you have a legally binding contract, say you did some business with somebody, right? And y'all had a contract, y'all signed an agreement before you perform services, whatever the case may be. Let's say, let's do something simple. Go and you cut this. I used this example before. You go and cut this old lady grass, right? Or you shovel her snow, right? You shovel her driveway for the snow, right? After you have performed your labor for this nice lady, for this elderly woman, you even took off some of the money that you usually charge because you were trying to be nice to this lady. And you finish your job, and she tells you, "Oh, I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't know I didn't have no money in my purse. I gotta go to the bank. Could you come back later on around 5, or maybe you come back Monday? I had $20 for you, $40 for you, baby. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I didn't have it in my purse. Now, now, let's say, you know what though, because like, let's use a bigger example, because you can't get no claim in court over no little $20, $40 grass cut or a shovel. So let's say you did some maintenance work on the home, some construction work on the home. You remodeled her daughter went to college, and she moved up with her husband, and now you want to remodel that room into her own personal, whatever, woman cave. You know what I'm saying? You did some work in there. You hooked it all up. You put a new bar in there. You put a jacuzzi in there. You did this, that, hooked it all up. You did all this work. Now, if you do all that work, and then she gives you some runaround as to why she can't pay you. Now, that's you, man. You did your work, man. Regardless of how sweet this old lady is and all that, man. Listen, you want to get paid for your services. So therefore, now, if before you do any work with a person, you better draw up a contract and have this lady sign on the dotted line that says, listen, man, when I'm done with my services, doing this, installing your jacuzzi, putting your bar here, doing this, doing that, I expect to be paid $10,000 and plus the materials and and the labor time and all of that. Yeah, so that's going to run about 1,200, 12,000. Okay, now boom. So you want to get paid for your services. Now, like I say, she should give you some money around. That's why she can't pay you the money. At the end, she don't write you the check to go get paid. So now you like, yo, I did this work, man. You take pictures of your work, you take all of this into court, and you like, yo, man, like, yo, I did work for this lady. She didn't pay me for my services. I didn't spend money on the materials, took time out of my schedule. I even put off other jobs for her. I lost money to go and work and do this job for her. So you can even get compensated for lost wages, all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? To bring it in court as a legally binding contract, because this lady signed this contract and then she didn't perform her end of the bargain. You know what I'm saying? She didn't pay you your money. She didn't write you your check. You know what I'm saying? So that was a breach of contract. And contract laws allow you to take the problem to court. So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's the only way you really would have to deal in the courts is if you're dealing with contract law. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's the science on that. You know what I mean? And that's not the only aspect of contract law, because like I say, going back to treaty law. You know what I'm saying? Going back to treaty law. Um, Treaty law is contract law as well, because you are in treaty with other nations, and a treaty is a legal agreement is an agreement between nations. You know what I'm saying? So you're in agreement, you're in a bond, you're in a contract. You know what I'm saying? Um, with whatever nation that you're in contract with. So we gotta understand contract law. You know what I'm saying? Understand that this is what it is. This is the realm of what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Um, and like I say, due to the choice of law, when you okay, let me go back to my chart here. All right, boom. So now we back on this, right? So now you got Islamic law. I mean, we got laws for succession. We broke that down. We went through the laws of inheritance. We went through the law of testament. Oh, hold on. That's a mistake right there. Testament-TARY. That says testaments are testamentary. And like King just broke down um testaments. You want to create your last will and testament, because when you're dealing with testamentary, he said that's kind of like the opposite of having the testament established. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like intestate, die, passing on without a will. You know what I'm saying? When you pass away without a will, that's considering dying in intestate. But when you have a testament, then you didn't die in intestate. You had a testament, a last will and testament. So you know what I'm saying? And to always bring it back to, you know, like a lot of this, a lot of this science too, you know, saying you could refer to the Bible, you know, saying you could go through the Bible, the Quran, whatever holy books, you know, so the Bedu Netta, you know, saying you know, so you go back to the writings on the wall, you know what I'm saying? All of this was always known on a international level, a historic level, all of these things, and they did all these things. Like I broke down before on my other on my other video, how, you know, even the Father Allah, he taught the first nine born. The first nine born taught 10 students of their own. 9 times 10 is 90. The nine, including the nine born themselves, is 99 attributes of Allah. And Allah was the one, the knowledge, the foundation, the Son. You know what I'm saying? The one who laid that foundation and gave the instructions. Just like they say the Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. He gave them instructions, and they carried out these instructions. They carried out the will of Allah. You know what I'm saying? And his will was living. His will was living mathematics, like literally living mathematics. He gave them the knowledge. They kept their word as bond, and they carried out and did their duties to help build up this nation. You know what I'm saying? And like the guy was pointing out the other night, he said, "Yeah, it wasn't just the firstborn." I said, "Yeah, I know. Of course, we know it wasn't just the first time born, but them particular men are known in history specifically for what they did, and the Father chose those particular 9 men that are known in our history to do their specific job, and they did it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I know of. Like I said, I wasn't one of the older guys that was there back in the days that could tell you about so and 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 so that was also there. I wasn't there. So going over the history, this is what I know. And that's not to say that, oh, well, you need to know more of the history. Of course, we all need to know more of the history. But I'm giving you a basic history. Just like you see here, the sun right here, and you see the, you know, the planets going around. You know, we got 9 planets in our solar system. So the Father was that sun. And the 9 born, not like they were females or taking on feminine attributes of planets, but saying they would be symbolic to him as planets. So the Father, the great grandson, gave birth to a universe, to a solar system, and, you know, and many stars out there as well, because stars are all in the solar system. Like the Father said, the babies are the greatest. So he focused on the babies. So as the Father, he put his emphasis on the babies, teaching us succession right there. Don't y'all see this? That's right there, succession. He, as the Father, focused on the babies. Said the babies are the greatest. He told us keep teaching and having babies. You know what I'm saying? And the nation is gonna grow. And so it did. You know what I mean? Don't just have babies and don't teach them, but have babies and teach them. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge and all that. You know what I mean? So yeah. So this is how we carry out succession, and not just through the not. And now also bringing it to the not just the laws of succession, but the laws of inheritance, testament, and so forth. You want to create your last will and testament so that your children can have not only your succession of knowledge and wisdom and title and office and property, which is a lot as well, but also, you know, like the main, so like I say, more so the property coming from the inheritance, in-her-ITANCE. The mother works as the trustee for the trust. The man is the executor, the woman is the trustee, the child is the beneficiary. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Sun, moon, and star. Man, woman, and child. Succession, inheritance, testament. You know what I'm saying? So you understand your succession and what you're aligning your sons and daughters to come into alignment with. She understands her inheritance, because the black woman is not, and also you inherit traits, genetic traits, because the black woman is, due to her mitochondrial DNA, she is the genetic memory bank of the universe. All the memory of the universe is stored in the black woman. She's the genetic memory bank of the universe. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that. So all inheritance is in her. You know what I'm saying? Everything is in her. The baby, you plant the seed in her, right? And what comes out, right? Your succession. You know what I'm saying? So you want to find a beautiful, intelligent woman to plant your seed in so you can carry out your succession. And she carries out her inheritance. And you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so forth. And y'all put that all into the testament, into y'all last will and testament. You slap a certificate of international will onto that last will and testament, which brings it into the international realm. Like I was telling brothers, I posted a video. So it says it's dealing with the certificate of international will, which is also based upon a convention in which the United States is also a party to. The United States of America is also a party to. So that applies to you if you're here in the United States of America. You can implement that and bring your will into an international level so that it can have all the international rights and protections that we were just previously building on. I ain't gonna go back into all of that. You watching the video, you heard everything we said. So yeah, boom. So that's what you want to do. You want to bring yourself into that international realm. You know what I'm saying? Now, and you know too for something, man. Like, and I'm gonna point this out, man, because I know you watching. You know what I'm saying? You got people out there that I spoke to personally about these things. But like I say, once again, the ego of man clouds his vision. So you don't humble yourself and listen to your brother when he's simply trying to share information with you. You'd rather turn around and turn it into an argument based on the level of information that you may know, that which is not even in the realm of any of this. Maybe contract law. But before you contract, don't you want to know, or don't you want to be in all of it? You want to align yourself with all of this, all of these laws of succession, laws of inheritance, testamentary law, international private law, customary law, laws of treaties, constitutional law, Islamic law if you choose. But once again, like I say in the next degree, you have a choice of law. So it don't have to be Islamic law. It could be whatever law you choose. Then you draw up your contract and deal in contract law. And then if you choose to go into commerce or something like that, you have all these international protections. And then also, like me and King was building on, the King was dropping the jewel. See, because I always give credit to my sources, as you always hear me say, King dropped the jewel, because me and him be building a lot. So, and he said, as far as about, damn, what am I about to say? Contract. Damn, my bad. I lost my point. But anyway, but yeah, choice of law, you have choice of law and you have contract law. So before you contract, you have the right to choose your choice of law. You know what I mean? So yeah, you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You want to do all of this other stuff before you even think about a contract. Because once you understand all of this right here, once you understand this right here, then you'll know how to contract. And it won't just be on some commercial and you just trying to get some money out of something. You know what I'm saying? Because people on that, they on that paper chase, man. You know what I'm saying? People on that paper chase. I'm trying to tell people, you better bring yourself into the international fold of things before you start running around on that paper chase. Because remember, all crimes are commercial, right? So if all crimes are commercial, and you trying to finagle some money somehow or some kind of fund somehow dealing with contract law, you better know how to contract on some real deep contracting, not just, well, I know how to draw up a contract and make the agreement and draw up a security in the contract. Okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say cute, but I didn't want to be, facetious. But that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, you understand this, man. Understand succession, inheritance, testament, international law, international private law, customary law, laws of treaties. Bring yourself into a treaty, a seed into a treaty. I dropped the jewel. We did the video about the instrument of full powers. We did the video about the instrument of accession, which teaches you how to accede to a treaty, to also bring yourself into an international agreement and bring yourself on an international level of governance. That's how these are ways to do it. And also through the certificate of international will, you bring your will, which is your law, written, expressing the particulars of, in words. You have created your state or your nation state. And therefore, as you're interfacing internationally with other nations as a nation state, and also as an international organization, you're going to have international laws of protection, you're going to have private international laws, you're going to have customary laws that protects you when you and also when you accede to a treaty. So now, like I say, the certificate of international will bring you into the international level where you got international private protections, and you can state your customs within your will, so therefore you'll be respected in customary laws. And now law of treaties will bring you to another level as well. And then now also, like I say, now once you have a treaty and you're on an international level, then you could come back, then you might be able to through international full faith and credit, because you know how the states got full faith and credit among themselves. You have what's called international full faith. Not like there's no term specifically, but if you watch one of my other videos, we was breaking that down about how basically when you're interfacing with other nations and y'all in agreements such as treaties, this is basically international full faith and credit, as to where each nation is going to acknowledge each other's laws, and not even just signatures. You know what I'm saying? Laws. They're gonna acknowledge your law. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, God. I said I'm gonna leave. I said I'm gonna leave contract law for the contract killer, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was just expanding on a little something, but now that you're back in the building, God, you could wrap it up on that, God, on contract law.
On contract law, okay. Private contracts are considered private treaties or private treaties. So when you're dealing in the private, under private international law, you only dealing in, you're going to come back into the fold of nations. Okay. Now, as the laws of contracts, as people got to understand, when you're dealing within a contract, people got to know you are under the four-quarter rule of your nation, right? Your constitution is on a piece of paper.
Right.
You cannot exceed or go out the boundaries of the treaties, because they're on a square legal paper, or your constitution. So you cannot go out the boundaries of your treaties as it relates to contract law, or when it breaks down to constitutional law, you cannot you cannot go out or outside the boundaries of that constitution. So a lot of people think, oh, so they come into United States and they started dues in the UCCs and all of that. You are bound to their jurisdiction.
Right. Right.
You cannot exceed out of.
Right. Because that was your choice of law. You chose to deal with the UCCs and you bound yourself to that.
Right. Or even if you reference the Constitution or you claim that you are resident, you are still bounded by the Constitution and the laws that's constructed that's constructed by the Constitution. So you are bound to the state law, the UCCs, and all of that, because you are a creature, right, of the state or whatever institution, so you can't exceed your contractual limits.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying? See, a lot of people don't understand that.
Right.
You are stuck.
Exactly. That's what I was telling. That's what I was trying to say to brother, but he didn't want to accept that. But yeah, you might be stuck right now because you don't know what the next move is. You're waiting on them to make the next move. The next move is securitizing your bond that you handed over to them.
So a lot of people,
that's the next move.
Right. So a lot of people don't understand the laws of contracts. They don't understand this, man. That's why I say we constantly building, and we finna go to the next level with this information, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go to the next level, and we're gonna crack their head with the information, because I'm trying to tell people it's simple, because all you doing is tracing the line. You finding each point of law and you tracing it. to the origin, which now you can follow the path.
Right.
It's not complicated. It's just you got a lot of people who haven't put in the time that don't understand how this stuff works.
And then they want to argue with you when you just trying to explain it to them. Like, brother, I'm trying to break this down for you. Humble yourself and listen to your brother. I'm giving you the information. Nah, man, that ain't what I did. Okay, that's not what you did. I'm showing you what everybody can do. You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
ain't just people be stuck on their own situation. Like, yo, it ain't all about you. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, but if you stuck on yourself, then yeah, you stuck on yourself, and you think like, oh, I'm the only one that's free, and everybody else is a slave. Then okay, then that's how you think. But if you're a freedom fighter, then you're trying to free your people. And how could you be free
Stop.
and your people be a slave? And you standing by like you so proud that you're free, and you're not trying to free the people? What you doing then? People ain't gonna respect your freedom. You know what I'm saying? Oh, your alleged freedom.
You want me to do you like that?
You ain't really free because, like I
Huh?
said, some people they ain't really
You want me to do that? Don't do that.
teach his own. Teach his own. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of like trying to argue people to understand things. If you don't want to understand it, you ain't gotta understand it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to, you don't want to elevate yourself. You don't have to. You want to stay where you are? Okay, that's cool. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? You want to step your game up? You need
So
to get this information right here.
we bringing it to the people and giving them a doorway. It's up for them to. So like they said, many are called, but a few are chosen.
And,
Everybody don't.
and the
Everybody
chosen
don't
ones choose themselves.
right. So when we talking about contracts, you got to understand you are bound within the limits of what the creator has created for you. So who is your master? You can't serve two masters. So who is your master? You can't serve two. So if your nation ain't serving the proper master, then who are you serving?
Right. That's why I say. That's why I say we got to get out of that terminology, being a nation within a nation, because that means we're in servitude. We're subject. Now,
Wait,
when we stand as a nation among nations, then we're in equal stance. You
right.
know what
So
I'm saying?
a lot of people look like, for example, the Indians, right? They're a nation within a nation. They are bound to the treaties with the United
Federal.
States. Federal. So United States got jurisdiction over them, right?
Yeah.
They got federal jurisdiction. So they're a nation within a nation. They don't have no independence. They're
You
not
know,
an independent nation.
they, like I say too. Well, shoot, they got more than what we got. You know what I'm saying right now, but you know what I mean. But you're right though, because they are subject to the federal. But at the same time too, the federal government has to respect their indigenous rights. You know what I'm saying? So if they want access to water wells and national sites and stuff like that, that these corporations may have built buildings and stuff over, they have rights to be on that land. So like you might see native people just camping out on certain lands, and you're like, we got the right to be here too. You might look and they'll try to make it seem like, oh, they're refugees migrating. No, man, they sitting and squatting on their own damn land. That's their land. That
Right.
you people came and try to just incorporate and act like they don't got access to their own land. You know what I'm saying?
We also got to look at it like this. Like, remember they got those pipelines. The Indian was fighting. Remember they was fighting about those pipes coming all the way through their Indian tribal lands.
Okay.
Right? So you got to remember they got a doctrine. It's not eminent domain. It's where they find, I forgot, the best interest doctrine or something like that.
Mm.
When it's the best, when something is best for the nation, it can supersede. Um, I'm trying to remember that doctrine because I found it. It was something years ago. So they have one thing I try to tell these people: they got a a whole bunch of doctrines. They have a whole bunch of doctrines, and you got to be familiar. And I used to have a list of them, but it was so many doctrines.
Right.
Damn, how you?
The doctrine of merger. You got the doctrine of merger, where they dealing with. No, let me. Matter of fact, let me type that up and get the exact before I start. I don't want to miss that. But yeah, doctrine of merger is dealing with trust. It's like different aspects of it. It says in law of real property, the merger doctrine stands for the proposition that the contract for the conveyance of property merges into the deed of conveyance. Therefore, any you can see this? Part of stuff, let me share this part. All right, boom. Okay. In the law of real property, the merger of doctrine stands for the proposition that for the proposition that the contract for the conveyance of property merges into the deeds of conveyance. Therefore, any guarantees made in the contract that are not reflected in the deed are extinguished when the deed conveyed to the buyer of the property. So just like when they do like a mortgage for a house, they never really tell you that you're the actual owner of the property. They're gonna give you like a mortgage, which is basically a lease. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna lease the property to you as to where now when you sign in, when they transfer the deed to you, they don't put in that well, you're actually the actual owner and we're just leasing it to you. They don't tell you all of that. So they're in their merger, when they basically convey the property, they convey it through a deed, but they don't put those specific details in the deed. So your property gets transferred over to them basically. You know what I'm saying? That's how they excheat your estate. You know what I'm saying? As far as property is concerned, you know what I mean? And they do this on many different levels. You know what I'm saying? See, it stands with the proposition that the contract for conveyance of property merges into the deed of conveyance. So, in your deed of trust or deed of transfer of property or whatever, um, you know, it's supposed to be a contract of conveyance of property. So therefore, all your property is supposed to be conveyed in the deed. But if you don't convey the property as yours in the deed, and you state like, oh, I'm buying the house from the bank or something, or I'm mortgaging the house from the bank, then it transfers in a way where it says they own the property and you're just leasing it. You know what I'm saying?
Come here. Come here. So you can also look up the doctrine of lease pendants. See,
Mm.
so when they merge it, right, and they file a lawsuit, the doctrine of lease pendants stopped somebody from being able to make a claim. They can't come in.
Says Latin for suit pending. Les Pendant's doctrine permits the dismissal of the later action filed when two or more lawsuits are pending. So like you said, when you file your less pending claim, that basically means that you put the claim in on top of the bank's claim. Now it's an issue between you and the bank, and then nobody else can try to step in and whatever. You know what I mean? Try to make any claim, or you and the previous owner, and then the bank can't try to step in. You know what I mean?
So this is what happens in the lease pendant action. When the bank sue you or foreclose on your rights, nobody else can come in until the completion of the lawsuit. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So everybody is blocked or excluded out. You see what I'm saying?
So if you're going through a mortgage foreclosure right now, you might want to look into list pendants.
So, you know, King L-Bay, Lord Masiah L, we be dropping them. Let them know we got the science.
Word. You know what, God? You wanna close this one out and come back on another one because we didn't pass the hour mark. It's like 2 hours. So,
Yeah, let me. I gotta go help my wife get this stuff out the car. So so let me know if you're gonna send a link. Just send a link.
all
I'll
right.
come in.
But just do so when you come back from doing what you're doing, and then I'll send you a link and
Okay.
we'll come back in.
All right.
All right. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God.
Yeah, y'all. So y'all already know, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how we do, man. Word, man. We in the universal temple, man. This how it go down, man. This how it goes down, man. You and I verse all temple of the sun, planets, moon, and stars. You know what I'm saying? And on that note, we're gonna say peace. We're gonna see y'all in the next segment. And as usual, man, we bringing this knowledge, man. We uplifting for all of humanity and civilizing all human families of the planet Earth. Peace.